Okay, let's get this show on the road. My name is Mary Sloan, and I'm really excited about today's call. Want to get happy? Say thank you. I've been really involved in the self-development movement for, oh gosh, I was thinking about it today, and I'm not going to tell you how many years, simply because it'll really give away my age. And gosh knows I'm getting old enough that I don't want to do that. But let's say it's been many, many, many more years than 10. So anyway, what I find is that people are not aware that they have as much conscious choice. Oh, I guess my oh, my Facebook page was an oh okay, so why did that come through considering it was shut right down? Oh well, just one of those little exciting things that we get to deal with. Anyway, as you can tell, it is playing live on my Facebook page, Empowering Life Quotes. So I hope you're there watching it. And now I've turned it down on mine, so you just get me in one time instead of repeating. So I have been involved, as I was saying, in personal development, and I think it's probably the most important thing you can do, because really we're here with one mission: to get the best us that we can be. After all, everybody's taken, everybody else is taken. So that's really what I'd love to share, and I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Denise Sommer. Denise?
Hi, and great that everybody's here listening to us today, and it's a Friday up here in sunny Canada. Finally, we're very grateful and thankful for the weather after rain and snow and months of cold, as many people across many parts of the world have experienced. So yes, we're thankful and we're grateful. And my background is marketing, but back in my 20s I was pretty oblivious to anything other than myself, and I'll be very blunt. I was worried about what I was going to do next and how to get there, and just very self-focused, which is not a bad thing, but it was not necessarily great for my own personal growth. And in my 30s I hit a wall, and I certainly was very lucky at that time to reach out to the right people, and those right people connected me with the other right people, and which I was very thankful for. And I started on a journey of self-improvement and personal growth. And it was not, you know, I'm not going to say it was a long drawn-out journey. It was in bits and pieces, but it was enough that I questioned a lot of things that were happening in my life, and they weren't necessarily things that were for my betterment of my own personal life. And so when you question them, that's when you can actually start to become a happier person, when you can question what you're doing and then implement small changes, even on you know, it doesn't have to be large changes, it can be small changes on a day-to-day basis. And it helped for my career, it helped for my personal relationships, it helped for my business relationships. And it's a constant path, and but it's a path that's enjoyable, because when people see you bettering yourself and when they see the benefits, they tend to have a side benefit also. So we'll talk a bit more about that, about today's show, because words matter. We know that. And you're listening because words matter. So today it's become conscious of what you're listening to also. I'll pass that back to you, Mary.
Yes, I think it's really important, thanks Denise, that we become conscious of what you're listening to, because oftentimes we're not conscious and we're not aware of that small voice inside our head, and yet it tells us everything. Things like, oh, I don't think that's right, or it's constantly assessing, and sometimes it tells us things like, oh no, you can't do that, which are not things that you want to listen to. So words matter because you're listening. Become conscious of what you're listening to. Words are so powerful. We talked about this last week, and I repeated the slide just simply because it is so powerful. The word spelling can mean to cast a spell. And if by spelling words you can cast a spell, you can also become aware of what that spell is that you're casting on yourself and others. One word that casts a big spell on most of us is the word happy. And one of the things that I think we need to be aware of is that we can actually make that word cast the spell that we want. We can become masters of how we see that word and how we use that word and what it means to us. What do you think about that, Denise? Spelling.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And it's interesting that that's a derivative of a dictionary term. And we are casting out, and sometimes we'll call that in modern day psychology or modern day wording is projecting. So it's what we project. Is that, a dark cloud, or is it a projection of happiness? And it was interesting. I was on a call yesterday with a lady who is very successful. This was a radio show call, and she was being interviewed, and we were producing the show. And the call took a very interesting turn. And she talked about how every morning she gets up because she had had a very stressful younger life, but she really chose to not let that drag her down. And so she went along her merry way and was building her life, building her family. She has 4 wonderful children. But no matter what, she had not dealt with the issues that caused her the stress, and it was back from childhood. And so they kept coming back, and she could not progress in her life to the way that she wanted to because she kept hitting a wall. And she was choosing to be happy, she was choosing to do all these things, but she couldn't get beyond that wall. And so it was very interesting. She went and did a lot of work, especially around meditation. And one of the things that she does every single morning, not before she even gets out of bed, it's her thing to write. And she writes about 2 pages of affirmations that she has made for herself. And they're all about what she wants in her life and what she expects in her life. And she's just chosen to do it that way. That's just one method of choosing to help yourself have a better outlook on your life and to get towards those goals and to get beyond the blocks that you have. And they're very positive comments. For example, around her career, it's every day I am making this amount of money, and she actually writes that amount of money down. And we're not saying this is the only way to do this sort of thing. There are many, many ways to show thankfulness and gratitude. But it was just funny that she mentioned that one method that I had also learned many, many years ago. So I'm going to pass the call back to you, Mary, because this is, certainly takes us to our next slide. And it was very, very interesting listening to her yesterday talk about, at her stage of life, her personal growth.
I couldn't help but think affirmations can be some of those words that as you spell them out, which she does by writing them every day, actually cast a spell on you. And you can become conscious of what casts that spell on you. So moving on to our next slide, of course, which is what's happiness to you? And today I thought it would be fun to look at different bubbles and, the innocence of a child and the innocence of older people celebrating with their bubbles. I happen to like bubbles. How about you, Denise?
Yeah, I like bubbles too. Yeah, I mean, it always goes back to, yes, that most of us certainly who live in North America, had one of those as a child, and they're still a point of happiness for children today. If you give that to a 3-year-old and they can blow their bubbles, we had that same feeling when we were 3. So some of these traditions are there for a reason, and we don't often understand. But yes, the casting the spell is, sometimes people say, well, that's a negative term. Well, it depends on how you look at it. It's a dictionary term. And we're not saying that, a person who is deeply depressed can blow bubbles or...
Sorry, I have to take this.
Okay. that they can blow bubbles and suddenly their world is going to be happy. That is not at all what we're saying, but we could add more of those moments in our daily life. Like this lady who we were talking to yesterday, she gets up every morning and sometimes fills 2 pages of positive things that she wants to be seeing in her life, be it for her family or herself, her career, people around her, and she just writes them down. So those are her words, and like Mary said, she's casting a spell upon her own life, but in a positive way. And we could be blowing more bubbles. And we could be sitting by a beach having a lovely glass that could be lemon water, that could be sparkling champagne. It really doesn't matter because it just evokes a nice feeling in ourselves. So are you back, Mary, yet?
I am. Thank you very much. Yeah, chapter 2 is what we're talking about today of this wonderful little book that we're looking at, How to Get Happy and Stay Happy, practical techniques that really change your life. And today's practical technique is to practice daily gratitude. Can saying thank you actually give you a feeling of happiness and joy? What if there was a stress reliever so simple but powerful that you could easily practice it each and every day for amazing results? Fortunately, practicing daily gratitude has been shown to both relieve stress and promote happiness. And doesn't everybody always complain about stress? So, just recognizing how much you have to be grateful for and saying thank you for all those wonderful things can really relieve the stress, because we get caught up in this feeling that, oh my gosh, my life just isn't working, when in fact, if we look another direction, it's working brilliantly. How does that work for you, Denise?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can spend a few minutes every night before you go to bed just simply, we know that everyone's life is so busy, but to let go of the stress of the day and to think about the wonderful things that happen during the day, and there's always wonderful things. You can always find something to be grateful for, and just simply write that down in your journal, or if you're like me, I like sticky notes on my computer because I found this wonderful little computer program that does that. And I can just, before the end of the day, before I shut that computer down, or I just will sit there and go, okay, here's my sticky note for the day, and I choose 3 things that I found that helped me move to a better place of less stress. And I go to bed and I sleep better because of it. And then, I'm certainly thinking about starting like what she's doing every morning and just writing down all the things that I want in my life, and as if they're there happening right today. And that's all we can do. We only have the power to do what we can do to make happiness within our life, and that's certainly by helping show gratitude to others and to ourselves.
And I put together this funny little collage of thank you notes, because I think it's a great gift that we can give to other people too, to say thank you. Oftentimes people do wonderful things just perhaps by being in our lives, just perhaps by saying something or reminding us how wonderful something's been. And, what a difference it would make if you just made a practice of saying thank you. So there's something that I realized I could put into my life. I'm going to go out and get a bunch of fun cards and start sending them out to say thank you, for just being there, for the fact that, people do make a difference. And so often we forget to tell them that. What do you think?
Absolutely true. And we have gone so far away from sending letters and notes to people compared to what we used to do back in the days before email. But we can still email people. There's nothing wrong with that either. If it's not convenient for you to get to the post office to send something off, then there's nothing wrong with sending an email to someone and saying a simple thank you or gratitude, or just something that they've done in the day that you've spent together that maybe they didn't even realize they did. We can acknowledge and we can show gratitude for the people that we love and the people that we're surrounding ourselves with every day. And that is the ripple effect. That ripple effect, it moves very, very quickly.
Absolutely. So, does this matter? Does it matter if we're happy? It seems that happy people tend to take responsibility for their state of being. This means they are more aware of the wonderful rewards that are apparent in their lives, and they make a practice of verbally or mentally giving thanks each and every day for the good things they have around them. Why is this daily practice of gratitude so important if you want to live a healthy and happy life? And I think it's kind of what Denise and I have been saying. You know, people who are successful have made a practice of focusing on the good things in their life. And everybody has difficult circumstances, but we don't have to focus on them. We can focus on the good things, the things that get us through those circumstances. Denise, what?
Yeah, absolutely, and it brought back a memory of when I lived in White Rock, and I used to go down to this little cafe on the beach, and it was run by a young couple. They may be, I don't know, in their 30s or 40s. I'm not sure their age, but he was always very, very happy. We didn't see her as much because she was more at the back cooking, etc. But he was always really cheerful, and I remember one day one of the fellow patrons sitting in there said, you know, Vitra, how do you manage to stay so happy all the time? You know, the world is like full of stress and on. And he just said, I don't read newspapers. I don't watch TV. He said, I don't have any connection with the media. He said, and that is my choice, because he said, I find that if I pay attention to those things, I find myself not feeling happy. And he said, my attitude is that if something's really serious is going on, someone's going to come down here and tell me. So he said, that is my choice of living a happier life. And his background was Greek, and I know that that is a very much a Greek attitude, is to relax more, enjoy your family more, spend more time, you know, just sitting looking at the water, and show happiness and gratitude because they're very into family. And of course, yes, they have their moments and they talk loud and they throw dishes and smash dishes, but they're doing it, it's very temporary. It's a way to find a gathering of people too, to come together and smash dishes together and laugh and party and have a little bit of ouzo and some good food. And we've gone away from that in our society, and here, especially here in North America. So these are things, little things that we can bring back. And I remember that comment he made about not listening to the media, not pay. So I stopped listening to the news before I went to bed because I found it affected me. I didn't sleep as well, and I certainly didn't feel as happy. And these days, I don't even read newspapers anymore. You know, I'll occasionally look at something on the internet if I feel that there's something I want to know more about. And we see a lot of things that are important to us on Facebook, and you know, I either read them or I don't. I certainly don't read anything negative before I go to bed at night. How about you, Mary?
Yeah, I think that's really critical. And as we can see here on this slide that's up, happy people are healthy people. And Robert Emmons would like to answer that question about, are they really healthier? And he's a psychology professor at the University of California, and he's into a positive psychology type of research. And this is a relatively new field of study. Understanding the effects of positive thinking and conscious happiness pursuit is the goal. And the professor has released findings that clearly show that when you practice daily gratitude, you improve your health. So I think it's kind of like Denise and I are saying, we become very conscious of not letting negative influences in, trying to get that solid, 8 hours of sleep. And to do that, you need a peaceful, positive mindset, I think, to go to sleep at night.
Yeah, absolutely. They have certainly correlated that stress is not good for you and certainly not good for your health. And so whatever we can do in even little tiny ways to help eliminate that stress, we are going to help any perhaps further complications of health in our lifetime.
Yeah, and the positive benefits gained in the study were that you get a stronger immune system. Just imagine your immune system strengthens from the fact that you're happy and you're practicing an attitude of gratitude. And you get an improved ability to deal with stress and daily problems, which we've been talking about. And we get a more optimistic outlook. We get improved avoidance of troubling physical symptoms and boosted mental alertness. And you can certainly understand that boosted mental alertness. I mean, you actually get 8 hours of peaceful sleep when you can go to bed thinking about the great things in your life and the great things that you have to be happy for, as opposed to all the troubling things. No wonder we get better mental alertness, and we all need that as we get older. What do you think, Denise?
Absolutely, and strengthening your immune system is something that leads to, I think, even a bigger picture. We are living in a world that is becoming smaller all the time. It never used to be, say, 20 years ago, that people were around people on airplanes from other countries where illnesses and germs were more common and types that we had not built immunity up to. But now we're traveling all over the globe. We are a global world, and people are coming from different countries, and so we're seeing these new strains of bacteria and viruses. So yes, the more we can do to strengthen our own personal immune systems, the better off we'll be in the long run too, towards that degree also.
And I just couldn't resist putting up this picture of the cats playing. So cute. I mean, when you look at things like that, it's part of the reason that I'll go into my Facebook page oftentimes before I go to bed, because people post amazing things on there. And it's because I garner and only, bother with people who post those kinds of things up there, because I don't need all this negative stress in my life. So, it's kind of like, so cute. Yes, those are the things that, make you feel happy as you head for bed. And these findings have even been backed up by researchers like the University of Utah professor Lisa Aspinwall. When you begin to focus your attention outside yourself, you see that there are many things to be grateful for each and every day. So, it really makes a huge difference. Aren't they cute, Denise?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's you made a really good point about Facebook. We can choose on Facebook what we want to have come on our wall, and that is a huge blessing. Well, obviously there's going to be some Facebook ads. That's fine. Facebook needs to make money, but because they need to keep giving Facebook to us. But we can choose to eliminate the negative. We can choose to have the happy images, the happy quotes, the motivational quotes, the inspirational quotes, just like Mary's done here with this Facebook page, Empowering Life Quotes. You'll never find anything negative on that Facebook page. And that's something that, too, you can share with your friends. And if your friend's having a bad day, or someone in your family's having a bad day, or a co-worker, just send them something cute, something funny. I mean, goodness gracious, the dog videos on there will leave you, feeling bad one minute to lying on the floor laughing.
And I think that's, we're also desperate for feeling happy. That's why the cat videos and the dog videos and the monkey videos and the bird videos get shared, because it makes us feel good. It makes us feel connected in a powerful way. And, I loved this piece of information. Forget the stuff you own. Fortunately, the many benefits from being thankful daily are achievable regardless of your physical possessions. It seems that when you consciously recognize events, people, circumstances, memories which you are thankful for, your physical and mental rewards are greater than when you express gratitude for owning a physical object. Maybe you've got a hot car, or maybe you've got a gorgeous new big car, or whatever, but it's still a thing, and it's quite capable of being changed by an accident or something that might happen to it, but that shouldn't be any reason for us not to look after our mental attitude, because if you have to deal with a circumstance like a car accident, you want to be able to deal with it in a positive way and not go down this deep dark tunnel. What do you think, Denise?
Yeah, it brought up and something I've noticed in the last little while, I like to watch a TV channel called Home and Garden Television Channel. Again, number one, because it's very positive. There's pictures or shots of people looking at for their first house or their second house or their vacation home, and it's where a realtor takes them to 3 different houses, and at the end, as a couple, they choose, or a single person, they choose a house. And I've heard many times that it sort of stuck out for me, like here they are buying this very physical thing, but it's their home. And I've heard them say many times on there at the end of, oh, this is so wonderful. We now have a home where we start to make our wonderful memories. And I've always been really pleasantly surprised to hear that even from very young couples who go, it's not about owning this pretty house and having this nicest yard or this, it's about, oh wow, we're going to create memories here. This is the start of our family. This is our memories for the future to come back and show our grandchildren. So that's gratitude. That's being thankful.
No kidding. And, they're talking here about how to practice daily gratitude, and it's a great idea if you are the type of person who likes to write, to begin a daily gratitude journal. Set a goal, example, to list 20 items a day. Some days it'll be hard. Or maybe you set a goal to just think about one positive thing that happened. It doesn't really matter. The point is it starts you thinking. And, sometimes we think that we can't do 20 items a day. But if you just start to think about the fact that you open a fridge door and you've probably got food, and, you can turn on an oven and you've got heat, and food can be cooked, and you think about how few people in the world actually have those advantages, and sometimes it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to have been born here, and at this time, you look back at how life was lived in the past, and we didn't have those kinds of things all the time, and they're starting to even let dogs and cats into hospitals and things because people got inspired and feel better by the happiness that the pets bring. They're so unjudgmental. They love you, period. And they never seem to have a hard day. So what do you think about the daily practices, Denise?
Yeah, well, here they are. That was one. And two, tell at least one person in your life each and every day that you are grateful for them and their actions. And number 3, turn something negative. The soup you ordered is cold. Oh dear, how many times has that happened? But turn it into something positive, maybe because you don't want to ruin the dinners or the lunch of the people that you were there with, because that's true. One person having a bad meal can, depending on their attitude towards their bad meal, and of course the restaurant and the waiters, etc., how their response can really affect everyone's lunch or dinner. So turn it into something positive. Just along the way think, wow, I'm pretty grateful to have this. I'm grateful to be with these people, and I'll get my soup fixed. It won't be any big deal. And 4, learn to say thank you mentally or verbally several times a day, and your recognition of gratitude will instantly impact your health positively. That thank you is something that we can all work on. It's just a very simple thing to do, but not done enough.
Well, and I really think that we don't, I certainly don't enough tell people around me how grateful I am to have them in my life, and to let them know what a difference it makes to me. We are not acknowledged anywhere near enough as far as I'm concerned. So I try to make a practice of acknowledging at least one person every day, and I try to even consider it practice to acknowledge my family. Family are something that you can too often take for granted, and they like to hear thank you too.
Absolutely. That reminds me of a scene I saw yesterday. We had gone to the bank, and I was waiting for my friend. Well, she was in there, and there was a McDonald's. It was right by the door of the bank mall entrance. And this young girl, I'd say she was maybe 15, and she was there with obviously her brother and her mother. And her mother was not very well. Obviously, you could tell physically she was hurting, and she had a walker, and so that must be very tough to have two young children and have to get by your daily life with a walker. It's something that usually we expect to see with older people. This woman probably was around 30 or 35, somewhere maximum, and she was living her life sitting down with a walker, and her daughter was screaming at both her brother and her mother and was just venting a ton of anger. And I just stood there, leaned up against the wall, and I just kept projecting love towards this family. I was like, please God, send these people some love and some health and some better attitudes. And it was just silly stuff too. It was really inconsequential, but it was also affecting everyone around them. The people standing in the line, McDonald's, the security guard at the bank, myself. But I just looked over at the security guard and I said, it's a family issue. It's going to be okay. And he went back into the bank because, of course, that's his training, is to come out and see what's going on because people were yelling. And it's a funny world we live in. I stood back and leaned against this wall, and I was like, wow, this is certainly interesting. And these people could use a lot more thank yous and a lot more gratitude in their life. And I don't know what their life is like, obviously, but I don't think it's very easy.
But I mean, they were out in a safe place. Nobody was shooting at them, and they were able to go out to a restaurant, even if it was a McDonald's. I mean, think of all the people in the world who don't have that. And, if we can just get more of that recognition out in the world, it'll be so much better.
Yeah.
I happen to love this little picture. You're still here. Be grateful, celebrate, and say thank you. At some point in time, we'll turn the page, and gosh, we'll get up and one morning, and our name will be in the obits column, and we won't be here. So while we're here, let's be grateful.
Yes, exactly. Especially if you suddenly lose someone unexpectedly, that's when you start to think about that. Whoa, wow, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had said that. And not to get too morose here, that's not our intention, but imagine if the last conversation we had with that person was a really positive one, where there was some thankfulness and some gratitude, or just was fun. Maybe you laughed. That's a positive memory, and we can create those positive memories. And as people, we can help like the young girl that was so upset and so angry. If we're an aunt or a neighbor or a teacher or a friend, and we just took that young girl aside and said, we know that life is difficult, but these people are your family, and you can choose your attitude, you can choose your thoughts. And if we can just help them by just maybe turning around their day just even 10 degrees in any way, shape, or form, we may plant a seed. And that's all we have the power to do.
Absolutely. And, we have the power to plant a seed. They have to pick it up and work with it. So, to get more of this kind of thinking, of course, you can come back to my page. As Denise said, it's facebook.com, Empowering Life Quotes. And, if you'd like to hear how we can help you put more of this into your day, and you'd like to start with a blast of inspiration, put a comment below or PM me on this page, and we'll get back to you. This is something that we love to do, and to impact people's lives positively, and it impacts our lives positively, so it's a win-win. So thanks so much for being here with us, Denise.
Yes, thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Mary, for putting this together, and we thank the universe for bringing this to us. And yes, we have a lot to share about the methods that are out there to help people get not just methods, but day-to-day learned skills, because it's wonderful to talk about happiness and gratitude, but if we can actually share and teach each other skills of coping, of getting through the day to move on to that feeling of happiness, then we're happy to share that with you. So like Mary said, just come back to the Facebook page, Empowering Life Quotes often, and we'll see you again next Friday. Have a wonderful weekend.
You bet. Have a great week. Take care.